bag opened. The light hit me. David's fingers, calloused from the harp and the lion's mane, gripped me tight. The world started to spin. 150 miles per hour. I wasn't a stone anymore. I was a judgment. In the air, you realize something. Goliath wasn't a target too big to miss. He was an idol too heavy to stand. I didn't kill him. The faith behind the throw did. I was just the delivery vehicle. I ended up embedded in the forehead of a legend. Not the patio career I expected. But here's the thing about being a silent story in the Bible. God doesn't need the biggest weapon. He just needs a smooth stone that's willing to be thrown. For centuries, I was just smooth. A perfectly ordinary stone. My days were simple. Tumble in the stream, soak up the sun, maybe trip a small goat if I was feeling mischievous. Then one day, this big hand reached down. I thought, oh, here we go. Another kid for the skipping contest. Wrong. This wasn't just any kid. This was David, a shepherd. The kind of kid who fights bears with his bare hands and writes poetry. Not exactly my crowd, but I'll admit, he had a certain charm. He kept a collection of us, all smooth and round, in a little leather pouch. I guess we were his lucky charms. Little did I know, my luck was about to run out. His people, the Israelites, were in a bit of a pickle. A real giant problem, actually. Goliath. Nasty piece of work. Big, loud, and constantly yelling. Honestly, the noise was worse than the threats of war.
For 40 days, this was the scene. Goliath, the Philistine champion, would march into the valley and shout his challenge. Every day the armies of Israel stood paralyzed. Their king Saul, a great warrior himself, could not face this giant.
Honestly, the guy was a walking ironworks. Helmet, breastplate, greaves. I heard he even had a small donkey just to carry his spearhead. Over 150 pounds of metal. Easy. Who needs that much bling?
Goliath wasn't just big, he was heavily armored, and his challenge was terrifying. Send one man to fight me. If he wins, we serve you. If I win, you serve us. But one day, a young shepherd named David heard Goliath's taunts. He saw not a giant, but an insult to God. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? He asked. The Valley of Elah hummed with the nervous energy of two armies. David, fresh from the quiet pastures, arrived not as a warrior, but as a humble messenger, carrying provisions for his brothers. His oldest brother, Eliab, saw only a boy out of place, a shepherd with a staff, not a soldier with a sword. Eliab, scorn etched on his face, openly mocked his younger brother.
Look at this! The king asked for warriors, and my father sends a delivery boy with a picnic. What is that, David? A toy to scare away crows? Go back to your sheep before you trip on a spear and hurt yourself.
David, ever composed, tried to move past, but his simple staff snagged Eliab's massive shield. The veteran warrior stumbled, a moment of clumsy humanity amidst the grandeur of war. A few soldiers nearby couldn't help but stifle a laugh. Undeterred by his brother's words, David moved deeper into the camp, observing the men who were meant to face Goliath. He saw the strength of their swords, the weight of their armor, the traditional tools of war. While grizzled veterans sharpened their blades, David sat quietly, meticulously checking the leather of his sling, preparing his own unconventional weapon.
You're going out there with rocks? The giant has a spear the size of a weaver's beam.
David's response was simple, yet profound.
A sword only reaches as far as a man's arm. My God reaches further.
Then he began a practice swing. The air itself seemed to hum with the whistle of the sling, a sound so sharp and powerful it cut through the din of the camp. The veterans paused, a flicker of surprise in their eyes. This was no toy, While the Israelite army thought in terms of hand-to-hand combat, David was thinking like a ballistic missile technician. He understood a fundamental principle of warfare that Goliath, in his arrogance, had completely overlooked. King Saul, desperate, offered his own armor, but David knew it wouldn't work. He wasn't a soldier, he was a shepherd. He fought with what he knew.
That's when he came for us. Me and 4 of my best bodies. 5 perfectly smooth river stones. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's a distraction tactic. He'll throw us to annoy the giant, and then the real fighters will come in. Nope. He was serious.
With nothing but his shepherd's staff, his sling, and 5 smooth stones, David walked into the valley to face the giant. Now let's talk physics. A sling isn't just a toy. In ancient times, it was a weapon used by specialized warriors, sometimes more feared than archers. David, as a shepherd, was a master. He could spin a stone up to 100 revolutions per minute, launching it with incredible force. That's why he chose smooth stones. They fly faster with less air resistance.
Okay, so when David started winding me up, it wasn't a gentle spin. I was going from 0 to over 80 miles per hour in less than a second. Imagine a tiny cannon, but organic.
At that speed, even a small stone can hit with immense energy, enough to cause a critical blunt force trauma, especially to the head. But here's the critical part: Goliath's helmet. It left one tiny, almost invisible gap, a slit just above his eyes, right at the forehead. A perfect, almost impossible target.
So my journey wasn't just about speed. It was about precision and faith. A lot of faith. The bag opened. The light hit me. David's fingers, calloused from the harp and the lion's mane, gripped me tight. The world started to spin. 150 miles per hour. I wasn't a stone anymore. I was a judgment. In the air, you realize something. Goliath wasn't a target too big to miss. He was an idol too heavy to stand. I didn't kill him. The faith behind the throw did. I was just the delivery vehicle. I ended up embedded in the forehead of a legend. Not the patio career I expected.
The giant fell, and the armies of Israel, once paralyzed by fear, erupted in a roar. The Philistines, seeing their champion defeated by a shepherd boy and a single stone, fled in terror. The victory wasn't just David's, it was God's. It showed that power doesn't come from armor, size, or a loud voice. It comes from faith in the unseen.
And that's my story. From a riverbed to a giant's head. Pretty good for a pebble, right? I learned that God doesn't need the biggest weapon. He just needs a smooth stone that's willing to be thrown.
This is the story of our lives. We often stand before giants of fear, addiction, or despair, feeling like we have nothing but a few small stones. But the gospel reminds us that God doesn't need us to be giants. He needs us to be prepared. Like those stones in the brook, our trials and our quiet moments of prayer are the water that smooths our edges. When we finally stand in the valley, we realize that we aren't fighting for victory. We are standing in the victory that the Lord has already won. Just as David was the champion for Israel, Christ became the champion for us, using the weakness of the cross to bring down the giant of death forever. At the Inanimate Gospel, we believe even the smallest details of the Bible hold the biggest lessons. Join us next time for more ancient stories, abstract perspectives, absolute truth. If you love our story, please click the like button, share, and subscribe to our channel. What is your greatest lesson from this story? Let's have your comment.